Hey, it's Gary from 22 North. So, in my recent LinkedIn post, I talked a little bit about the dirty secret of AI-powered knowledge management and how we're building skyscrapers effectively on quicksand. So, what I wanted to do is show how ridiculously simple the fix can be, because I think as workforces, we've kind of accepted the friction that almost is just part of your work when you're trying to find the information you need and you're losing time. It can be super frustrating. Searches don't always work. And it doesn't have to be that. So the foundation element is typically the area that everyone skips and verifying the information they have. But that's the difference between AI that works versus AI that's not adopted and actually causes distrust. Because what's happening in most organizations at the moment is there's so many different pieces of information scattered across different systems. They're layering AI on top of that, and that's giving the illusion of efficiency. So essentially it's going and searching all this different content and trying to give you the most relevant answer, but you can't really trust it because a lot of that information is outdated and it's not smart enough to figure that out. So the foundational fix is really important. So what you're seeing on the screen just now is a company handbook or an example of a company handbook in Slite. Slite's a knowledge management tool. Other tech stacks are available. But for this example, I'm going to use this. And here's the key area that organizations miss. Because what they look at is typically when people are creating content, they'll either have community champions of that content or they'll have owners who actually have their own role and job and it's a bolt-on, which then automatically causes difficulty in terms of maintaining that information because their primary role will always take precedence over the updating and verification of the documentation culture. What's really clever in tools like Slite or Glean, where you can create collections of verified information, if I'm a content owner, anytime I'm creating content, I can verify it up here. So this is already verified. I've already put that in there. So I can extend that if I wish. But what's happening now is if I select for 6 months, so in February, at the end of January, I'll get a notification to say, hey Gary, this bit of information is due to expire. Can you go in? Can you just reference check it? And then extend the verification just so that people know that it can be trusted information. What I can also do as a user, so if I'm not a content owner and I'm coming into a piece of information, I can come in here and I can say something along the lines of, hey, like I can either flag it as outdated, I can leave a note for my reason and that will notify the document owner. I can request verification, so I might say something like, I thought we altered transparency to visibility. So what I'm saying is in the principles, I'm just sort of requesting that and then submitting that. So what happens is anyone who comes into that document will say, this document is still live, there is a verification request. Now, where it gets really clever is the kind of feedback loop that exists within here. So when someone's reading this content and they spot that it's outdated and they flag it and they update that, it's really simple. It only takes those 2 clicks to do it. But as a knowledge steward or the content owner, what happens is I can filter and see everything that's been flagged. So I can see any comments, I can see any outdated information all in one place. And I can also update that content and revalidate it. And then the feedback loop is closed so everyone gets accurate information again. To show you how that happens, you come across to your knowledge management hub. So as a content owner, this is showing me everything that I own. I can obviously filter it by who it's owned, status, channels, where it is. I've got advanced filters. For this purpose, I'm only interested in outdated information, so I might automatically have these feedback loops. I might just come in here to do this at different points. Because I've now filtered it, it's only showing me stuff that's either not been verified, outdated, or requested. Now, if I click on this, it'll now tell me what that person said. So I thought we altered transparency to visibility. I might go in and just update that here. I can also clear that status and revalidate it from here. I'm not going to do that for this demo because what I want to show you is you can also click on outdated information, but you can actually bulk create this or bulk verify this. So I might go in and say, you know what, I'm really happy with all of these. Let's change the status to verify it. You can do that as a custom date. I'm going to just do 6 months on here. And now that'll now clear through. Now all the information is now back up to date. So where you've got a culture of documentation, it's such a powerful thing where people are constantly questioning, updating the information. But also I think it's important that you have that knowledge role or the knowledge steward essentially. What's also happening is when you layer AI on top of your information, you can be very pointed in terms of like layering it on top of trusted information. So if I come across to the data sources that the AI is connected to, I can connect it to Slack channels, specific folders within Google Drive that might have been verified. It's already connected to the knowledge management base, which has the built-in verification. But that's really powerful as well because a lot of people just connect AI on top of everything. But you want to be quite pointed in terms of like how you connect it and to the sources that you're connecting to make sure that they are validated and they are up to date. So you can do that within that platform. And then the real power then comes from if I want to then ask a question about that. So what are the principles? So what's happening now is the AI is searching only those data sources that are verified by myself, like, and connected by myself. So it's now searching solid foundations, and that's the magic. When I'm searching the fundamental principles of the company, I get trust, clarity, and transparency with the source clearly shown because AI knows this is validated content because it sits on the verified foundations. I can also meet people where they work. So some people might not be on the knowledge platform, they might just be within Slack. If I come to Slack, I can mention Super, which is AI, and I can say what are the principles here. Now what's happening is that'll now build out an automated layer, meeting me within Slack, it's already thinking, and it's going through the exact same process that you saw within a knowledge management platform. And obviously live demos are always a little bit risky, but I'm assuming it's going to come back with the same information. Yep, there we go. So trust, clarity, and transparency are identified as the three principles. It gives me all the sources. I can go across from there as well, which is really, really powerful. So I think I suppose closing this, the cultural shift that happens is the foundation part is the part that everyone skips or they underestimate. So 30 seconds of validation will always prevent hours of confusion and interruption. And people are losing so much time trying to find the information they need in the moments that matter. Guidance, news, tools, and systems. A lot of reports have shown 33 days a year, 9 out of 10 searches fail the first time. So I think the important part here is not to make this someone's side job. Champion programs can be powerful for adoption, but they'll fail because something you do when you have the time. And typically people just don't have the time. So forward-thinking companies, I think, should be creating like knowledge steward roles that sit within the people functions or different parts of the business. So treating organizational knowledge like culture. Because without this foundation, all of the AI in the world, it will just not help you find that right information in the moments that matter most. And the companies that are solving for this are gaining so much time back, but they're also enabling people to find the information they need when they need that, and also reducing interruptions of other people as well. So I think really focusing on that 30-second validation versus hours of confusion, it's a massive win for you. Only searching validated sources and getting those indexed by AI, that's a really smart move at this point. The feedback loops, they're going to keep your content fresh. And then this idea of like knowledge steward roles versus kind of failed champion roles or failed content owner roles, it's almost like a side job. And then also looking at meeting people where they work. So rather than, probably in the past, I've been a massive advocate of like a single source of truth. Whereas I'm kind of steering away from that a little bit in terms of as long as you've got the validated and verified information and those feedback loops, then I suppose it doesn't necessarily matter as much where that information leads because you can connect it now with AI. But as long as you're only connecting that verified information, and then you're going to see massive gains. So yeah, hopefully you like the demo. We'd love to hear your thoughts from the post. And if you want to learn any more, yeah, just hit me a DM. We'd love to chat on this topic. I think there's lots of exciting automation AI opportunities to actually improve even the verification layers. Look at things like when new features go live or where policy changes, AI sort of picks up on these sort of things and automatically updates it. And maybe you just have the human layer that then verifies it. So yeah, lots of options moving forward, which is pretty exciting. Speak to you all soon again.